This is Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thidoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
And that is our goal every day here, attack and dominate here at Morning Juice. I'm Tito, Bobby Carpenter on my left, Shark across the glass. We got a big show lined up for you today. I know, Shark, I know it's not glass here. I knew that. You gave me a look. Good morning, all you juicers. Join us in the chat if you would. We're on YouTube right now. I think we are. Shark, we're on YouTube right now. I don't know if I should.
Yes, we are on YouTube.
Is it Morning Juice on YouTube? That's the question. Does it say Morning Juice on YouTube?
I don't know what it says,
okay,
but we're
on there,
YouTube.
Though. You can find us, though. Just search Three Handsome Men at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday. Bobby, how are you today, my friend?
Oh, it's been fun watching Shark solve problems.
It's great.
His troubleshooting is elite.
We are going to work him so hard until the end of his tenure here, coming up on July 1st. Final show for that one. I can wait, but also cannot wait for that day for Shark. So, big show lineup for you today. We have Austin Ward at 7:20 on the show, as we do every week at that time. It's 43 days until the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. 66 days until the first 4 college football games. 73 until Ohio State, Texas. 78 until the official start of the NFL. Last night, the Reds beat Minnesota 6-5. They'll play tonight at 7:10 in Cincinnati. Guardians get a win on the road over San Francisco 3-2. They play tonight at 9:45 out west. OKC, they lead the NBA Finals 3-2 over Indiana. Game 6 Thursday at 8:30 in Indy. Panthers go back-to-back. They won 5-2 over Edmonton last night, or maybe 5-1. They win the series 4 games to 2, I think is what it was, yeah. Also, I want to tell you about the fans race. The inaugural 97.1 The Fan, the race presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. It's a 5K run, 1-mile walk happening June 21st at Otterbein University in Westerville. Some of your favorite personalities will be there, including Tyvis Powell, Common Man, T-Bone, Eric Reeser, and more. And yes, 10 TV's Adam King will be there running the race in a suit and tie. Every participant gets a what, Bobby?
It says you get a finisher's medal, but that implies you have to finish the race.
Right. So it is
a participation medal, but you do have to actually complete the task.
All the way through, yes. If you pull a hammy, if you pull a Sean Casey on the 1-mile walk, you do not get that unless somebody helps you across the line. You also get a race shirt, free photos, awesome gifts from Logan Services and Raising Cane's. The inaugural 97.1 The Fan, the race, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and sponsored by Impact Health and Wellness, specializing in regenerative medicine, weight loss, and hormone therapy. To help define your wellness goals, sign up today at 971thefan.com. Bobby, they say your favorite personalities will be there. Some of your favorite fan personalities. Tyvis, Common Man, T-Bone, Reeser, and Adam King, we know will be there. Out of those 5, which one has the most fans? Who do you think people will be most excited to see? Tyvis, Common Man, T-Bone, Reeser, or Adam King?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is that the fan poll question?
If we were in charge of the fan poll question, that's what I put out there. To those, and I'd probably put the 6th one as Art Modell. But yes, that's the list right there. People are going to be there. So anyway, it comes up again it'll be on Saturday, June 21st, Otterbein University in Westerville, 971thefan.com to sign up for that. All right, Bobby, let's get smart.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
He is your professor. He's my professor. He's Columbus's professor, Bobby Carpenter. What do you got for us, buddy?
Oh, boy. It is Wednesday, June 18th, 169th day of the year, 196 days remaining this 2025. This date, 1812, the U.S. has declares a declaration of war against the Brits, beginning the War of 1812. How about that for you?
War of 1812?
Yeah, it was the second war we ever fought. The first one that off was for the independence from Great Britain.
The War of 1812 is our second one.
Well, I mean, it was after the Revolutionary War.
I know, I didn't know. I've never thought about that. I guess it would be the second.
The bloody Brits again. They burned the White House down.
Everybody loves a sequel, so they gave us one.
Was that a long war?
I think it was like 3.5, 4 years. The
problem was it that long? Wow.
Yeah, I think it took I think it was 3 to 4 years, which back then, wars took a long time. You got to think it took I don't know, a month to get across the ocean. I don't know how long it was. They're sailboats, for heaven's sake.
Huh. Makes sense. I just never really thought about the wars that long. That's all. I'd never.
2 years, 8 months.
There you go. So almost 3 years.
Began on June 18th, and we had the Treaty of Ghent. In, let's see, February 17th, 1815.
Did we start or they started? They started
burned
it.
the White House
started
down.
it. Of course they started it.
Yeah, burn the White House down.
We don't start wars.
Of course we don't. My fault.
Just defend ourselves.
Yes, that's all we do.
This date, 1815, Napoleon is defeated at Waterloo, ending his comeback. Speaking of a nice comeback reign, and he abdicates his throne, and thus Napoleon then is gone for good.
Did he get exiled twice or once?
Yeah, he got
Because Elba and Corsica were the places.
Yes.
I know that.
And wait, is it Corsica's closer? Elba's
I don't even know where Elba is.
Elba's off the coast of it's like way out there.
Oh, okay. Well,
Corsica-
Corsica's right there in the Mediterranean.
Yes, so they like picked him up and they rallied him back. Elba's out way off the coast of off the coast of Africa, I believe. So he wasn't going anywhere from there. This date, 1873, Susan B. Anthony is fined $100.
Wow.
That's a lot of money back then.
It is. What do you think she was fined for?
Voting naked.
Attempting to vote.
Voting.
Naked?
No, there's no. I think she was fully clothed.
Who was the naked woman that got in trouble?
Don't know about that person.
On the horseback or something way back when?
Joan of Arc.
That's it.
Yeah, Joan of Arc voting. I don't even know if they had.
I'm just saying, Arc with a C, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't trust those. Go ahead.
This date, 1928, Amelia Earhart becomes the first woman to fly across the Atlantic. She's only a passenger at that time, but she will make that flight herself in the coming years. This date, 1938, Babe Ruth is signed as the Dodgers coach.
Looking for sound on that one.
I don't have any
No,
sound.
there isn't the press. What about the press conference?
He was signed as the Dodgers coach. I think it was the
Coach.
Braves. Then he coached.
Yeah, but the Braves would have been, what, 35?
Yeah,
at the end
35
of his
Boston
career?
Braves. Yeah.
After he got fired, they picked him up with the Dodgers. This date, 1941, Joe Louis. And he considered maybe the greatest boxer of all time. Knocks out Billy Conn in 13 for the heavyweight championship of the world.
55,000 packed the polo grounds to witness a supposed mismatch between two gallant warriors. Billy Conn was a 174-pound light heavyweight with the heart of a champion.
Conn is giving away 25 pounds to the man rated by many as the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Louis is hurt. He's in desperate trouble. He grabs Billy for support. Conn's definitely looking for that knockout. In round 13, Louis shoots in two blistering rights and a left. He knows he's got to knock Billy out to win this fight. This is one of the greatest heavyweight championship fights in years. As the referee calls off the count.
If Joe Louis had not knocked out Billy Conn in the 13th, boxing history would have been rewritten.
There you go. He wouldn't have been one of the greatest ever.
Oh.
Rocky Marciano would have been the greatest ever. He even beat Joe Louis.
I think, in my humble opinion,
Yes.
that for a span of about 4 years, Mike Tyson was the greatest
I-
heavyweight ever.
I would concur with that.
I can't tell if he was great or just really good at intimidating and scaring the hell out of other boxers. Like, I don't know how great the boxers
they
were
said-
then.
Have you listened to people talk about like his prime? Like
Oh, yeah.
boxing historians and analysts.
Not
Not me or Shark. Maybe Shark falls into that category.
I
do not.
loved watching Tyson. I watch him fight 6 or 7 times a year, it seemed like, on ESPN. He was always on because his fights lasted a round.
Promoters hated him.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they'd say, extend the fight a little bit. 6,
Right.
7 rounds. He'd knock everybody out in
Yeah.
the first.
He'd run out of the corner and just go smoke
Yeah.
people. But they said the combinations that he was able to put together were like stuff that no one had ever seen before, and no one's been able to do since then. Nothing on that. Okay.
I didn't want. I don't want to make you. I always end up being accused of making this state in history go too long because I always have these witty comments. I'm trying to sometimes.
Witty.
I'm trying to scale that back a little bit.
All right. This date in 1960, Arnold Palmer shoots a .280 to win the 60th U.S. Open.
The 60th United States Open Golf Championship on the Cherry Hills course at Denver with the snow-capped Rockies as the backdrop. Ben Hogan among the contenders starting the final round. Jack Nicklaus, brilliant amateur. Suchak setting the pace. Then out of the blue comes a thunderbolt. Arnold Palmer, the Masters champion, starting the last round 7 strokes behind Suchak, puts on a blistering rally. The man from the Pennsylvania Steel Regions ties the tournament record for 9 holes with a 30. Surprise of the tournament is the young amateur Nicklaus. His .282 takes second place. Then comes Palmer. From the edge of the last green, he rolls a chip right up beside the hole. Then Palmer drops the putt and tosses his cap in the air as he wins with a sensational last round 65 and a score of 280. An amazing triumph with the most sensational rally in open golf history.
Can you imagine
I love that
Nicklaus?
guy. I was going to say, I love that Nicklaus.
The amateur finished second.
Right.
Well, and 62 was supposed to be a coronation for Arnie, and that's when Jack won his first.
We heard that yesterday,
2 years
Bob.
later. That was yesterday. Because in 1967, Jack Nicklaus shoots a 274 to win the 67th U.S. Open. 72, Jack shoots a 290. 74, I think that was one of the, I don't know if it was all-time low, but that was one of his best. Shooting a 290 to win the 72nd U.S. Open as well. And then
that wouldn't have been an all-time low, a 290.
No, 274.
Oh, I thought, okay.
In 67, he shot a 274 to win that. And then in 72, he shot a 290 to win the 72nd. And then in 77, Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, they shoot a number 1.
I blame them.
Are you trolling Thidoff with that?
No, listen, because if they would have changed the lyric to
So you
lightning
think
only
all-
happens when there's thunder, I
You
would
think
know
all
that.
song lyrics are like scientifically and historically accurate?
I don't. Why wouldn't they be? Give me one that's not.
Well, that's one.
Okay. But I mean, other than that, we're starting now. Like after that,
That's
okay.
a Bill Parcells comment. He goes, "Name me a great running back that was named Christian." And someone goes, "Christian Okoye." He goes, "Name me another."
One more, starting now.
Listen, I didn't know that this is what we're going to pull into, but I'm guessing if we dig on in to some different lyrics from a number of songs, there are things that are not correct.
I do think one of the Beatles, I think he was the Walrus.
Well,
Cuckoo.
that might be true.
I think there's a Stairway to Heaven.
I've never met the lady who's sure all that glitters was gold, because that's also a lie.
I don't know.
So there's lie number 2, Shark.
I think we should take it all as the gospel.
Yeah, exactly. They've got me all.
I think Elvis Presley did have blue suede shoes.
There's a very good chance he may have, but I know that everything that glitters is not gold. This date, 1986, Don Sutton becomes the 19th pitcher to win 300 games.
1-2 the count to Gary Ward, 2 outs in the 9th. He's 1 strike away from 300 victories. He went around and it's over. Don Sutton pitched 9 innings tonight. Only 1 run. Pete Incaviglia's homer in the 7th. 3 hits, did not walk a hitter, and struck out 3, including Gary Ward to end the ball game.
He had a beautiful perm for a while when he was announcing games for the Braves.
So we talked about this yesterday. Tom Glavine was the second most recent to win 300, and then that was in 2007, you said?
Yep.
And then in 2009, Randy Johnson being the last and most likely final 300-game winner of all time. They've got, what's his name? For
You got Verlander?
Verlander, but he's like
262.
And he's only won 10 games, you said?
I think he's won 18 games in the last 4 years.
Yeah,
So
he always 42 years old.
If he would have been able to put together 10 games a year for the last 4 years, that would have probably got him there. He would be able to get it this year, but it's unfortunate because he would have been the last, and I don't think anybody after the big unit, if you will, is going to be able to get it done.
They should change the rules on wins for the pitchers.
What, just after 3 innings?
I
maybe?
do 3, yeah. I would say you got to pitch at least 3 to get the win.
3 innings, and maybe you don't even have to have just a tie after you go in. Why even make it a win? As long as your team wins, If it's tied 2-2 after the third and you go out, Shark, hey, you know what? We're going to give you the win. Ties go to the win.
Is it? I know
sure.
the wins rule is steadfast. Is the saves rule used to be subjective, where somebody, even though you got these qualifications for a save, which is like, the tying run, or you got to be like a 3-run lead or less kind of thing you're protecting, whatever it is.
The tying run has to be in the on-deck circle. You have to be you can't get the win.
Right.
You have to be the last guy in the game, obviously. And you can also go three
innings.
Effective
innings. That's the effect. That's what there's sometimes
so
you
could
what
be
is
up
the definition of effective?
Exactly.
You could be up 19-2, and they throw in a middle reliever, long reliever, who goes 3 innings. He can get a save.
Yeah, you could. That's up to the official score.
Yep.
To award the save or not, Bob. That's what I'm like. There's the 3 effective innings is where it's subjective, where somebody could hit it or not hit the mark he needs to hit, and if the official score says that's a save, then he'll just write down the S.
Yeah. I mean, some of those stats are meaning like a hold.
Yeah, the holds.
You come in with a 5-0 lead and you leave with a 5-4 lead.
You held it.
You get a hold.
Yeah.
A hold?
Yeah, they have a hold, yeah. H on the box score there.
Who's the all-time holds leader? Do we have that in there?
No idea.
That's kind of like a save, but not as intense.
Right. It's like we want to give you something to argue about in arbitration.
You came in in the second half and just nursed that 28-0 victory to a win as a quarterback. Like, what is a hold?
Yeah.
I mean,
hold the
goodness. My goodness. And then in this date, 2000, Tiger Woods shoots a 72. Was that his first U.S. Open that he won in 2000?
I would think.
Yes.
I would have to imagine.
Yeah.
That gave him the career Grand Slam, I believe.
That's what gave him the slam, was it?
My gosh. How old was he? Had to be. He was super
young.
young.
He was born in 1976, so he'd have been 24.
Wow.
24, actually 23, because his birthday is
yeah.
December 30th.
There you go.
Are you ready to hear
How
it?
do you know his birthday?
He and LeBron have the same birthdays.
Look at that. Because we've been doing this for almost 5 years. His mind's like a steel trap.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
The U.S. Open is the most difficult test in all of golf. I've usually played Pebble well.
36-hole scoring record tied earlier. 54-hole score to par record. 36-hole lead, biggest ever. 54-hole lead, biggest ever. 72-hole lead, the best. And let the Tiger Woods coronation begin officially in front of the fans at 18. And Tiger Woods is the 100th U.S. Open champion in history.
I have never played 4 days like I did at Pebble Beach.
That's amazing. I mean, the fact that he got to win the 100th and then winning it at Pebble would be pretty darn sweet. We've got some birthdays today. The legendary, the first big man of Hungarian descent, George Mikan, born on this date, 1924.
Basketball, a game of giants. And there's number 99, George Mikan, one of the greatest. The giant could move with the speed of a lightweight. When he had to, he knew all the tricks. And when it came to scoring points, he was in a class by himself.
Despite his great size, 6 feet 10 inches, he's a natural athlete and excels in just about any sport you'd care to name.
He set most of the game's scoring records. No wonder he was voted the player of the half-century.
Do you know who paid for his funeral, Thidoff?
George Mikan's funeral?
Yeah. Do you know, Shark?
No idea.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Shaq.
Bingo.
Shaq did, really?
Shaq paid for his funeral. He said the game was changed because of him, and he was able to benefit from it. So Shaq picked up the tab. I don't think he had a lot when he played obviously a long time ago, and he passed away in 2005. But yeah, Shaq picked up his funeral tab. 7-time champ, 5-time MVP. The man who I've never seen in the same room as Leslie Nielsen, Del Harris, former Lakers coach, and the 1995 Coach of the Year, turning 88. And I remember I used to just watch him, Shark, on the side. I'm like, is this like a Naked Gun bit with him coaching? Like, what's going on here? But he was the coach before Phil Jackson when they went on that run then with Kobe and Shaq and Glenn Rice that first year. Lou Brock, the 19-year veteran, 6-time All-Star and Hall of Famer, born on this date, 1939.
My base running ability was a force to baseball, a force that one has to deal with.
Lou Brock was one of the most dangerous base runners of his or any era. At the time of his retirement, the speedster was 12th all-time in hits and had the most stolen bases in Major League history. Lewis Clark Brock was born on June 18, 1939 in El Dorado, Arkansas. He grew up in Collinston, Louisiana, where he worked most of his childhood on a cotton plantation. It was at that point in his life when Brock discovered his love of baseball.
The only time we could get ball games was KMOX out of St. Louis. So in the Deep South, turn your radio on, then you get the Cardinal beam into a little town called Collinston, Louisiana.
There we go. Lou Brock, one of the legends. Roger Ebert, born on this date in 1942, the legendary movie critic, passed away in 2013.
Had a rough finish.
He did. Paul McCartney of Wings fame, turning 83 today.
And the first one said to the second one there, I hope you're having fun. Band on the run.
I was curious what you were going to pick.
He went to number one in 4 different ways with the Beatles, Paul McCartney and Wings, and Wings.
So what's Paul McCartney and Wings? Was that when before he brought him all the way on?
Yeah, it was.
That's his Diana
Paul
Ross
McCartney.
Supremes moment there.
Right.
Yeah.
What was Man on the Run?
Band on the Run.
Yeah, Band on the Run.
What was that with?
That was with Wings. Yeah.
That was with Wings?
Yep.
That's
his
amazing.
His wife was a keyboardist and backup singer.
There you go.
Linda.
Were they married prior to that, or did?
Yes.
Okay.
They were married.
And she was her dad was the Eastman guy, right?
No.
Kodak.
No? He was, and I always thought he was.
Really?
He was not Eastman Kodak. She was Linda Eastman from Scarsdale, New York.
Wow, I thought that and when the link with her in photography, I figured it had to be it. Huh.
I think those Eastmans were in Rochester.
Oh. All right.
Well, there you go.
More history here.
The more you know. Turning 64 today, hitting 399 home runs. It would be devastating to just get left off by one. The 5-time All-Star. Actually, I think I have an autographed baseball card of his when the Rockies were coming to play the Reds. Andreas Galarraga.
Galarraga hits one a mile. Forget about it. It is out of here, and it's all the way over the sea.
Oh, man. That's the farthest one we ever saw, partner.
That is the longest we've seen to left field, that's for sure.
That's what she said. 93-mile-an-hour fastball, and every bit of what the big cat could put into a baseball. Oh, my. And it stayed up in that dark part of the sky a long time. And look where it went.
Al Kaline also hit 399.
Oh, did he really? That's right. I guess that's, yeah.
It's be terrible. Just on the cusp of getting one more. Bruce Smith, bad things. The Hall of Famer turning 62 years young today.
Nobody ruined the run more effectively than number 78, Bruce Smith. He was even better collapsing the pass pocket. Smith played 19 seasons in the NFL. In 13 of them, he had 10 or more sacks. It was hard to believe that a man this large could also be so nimble.
I haven't found another job yet that'll pay me $1 million that I can go out and kick the shit out of somebody and not have to go to jail. That's one thing about it that I truly love.
That is awesome. That's what my dad would always tell guys when they're playing football in high school. He's like, when you get done with this, the stuff we do out here, they'll throw you in prison if you try to do that on the street. He's like, so make sure you get it all in before you get out of here. And then Blake Shelton turning 49 today as well. And finally, 1 year ago today, I told Shark this, and he whiffed 3 times. I said the greatest all-around baseball player passed away 1 year ago today. Who do you have for that off?
The greatest all-around player?
At least that's what I've been told.
Well, for me, it would probably be Mickey Mantle. But he's been dead a lot longer than that.
He has.
That's where I would go.
He was able to sustain that heavy drinking, though, for a long time. So that may be the greatest all-around.
He was
drunkard, too.
He was a six-tool player, the 5 in baseball and also the drinking one.
His liver's in the
I mean,
Hall of
maybe
Fame.
7. They said he was a phenomenal womanizer as well.
Oh, that
so why
story
stop
about
there?
the way he did on Old Timers Day when he wrote his memories, or for Yankees, his memories of being playing in Yankee Stadium.
Oh, that's
yeah, that's outstanding.
I had enjoyed him in 61. His portrayal, it was phenomenal.
Heard that was good.
It was up for
Stop it.
What?
You never saw 61 either?
I know how it ends.
I know how it ends.
Maris hits 61. That's how it ends, right?
All right, let's hear from the death of Willie Mays.
Over his 23 seasons on the diamond, Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid, went from one of the game's star players to one of its legends. 660 home runs, more than 3,000 hits, 24 All-Star appearances, 12 straight Golden Glove Awards, and a World Series ring.
At his peak, you could make a very strong case that Willie Mays was the best player there ever was.
John Miller agrees with you, Bob.
Well, I mean, him, people are throwing in Roberto Clemente. They always said Mantle probably could have or maybe would have been had he not hurt his knee.
Right.
He was still good after that, but he lost some of his athleticism that made him so special.
I think you could put Carlos Baerga in that category, too.
I mean,
he's not in the Hall of Fame yet.
Not.
How about Bartolo Colon?
Him, too.
I mean, listen, very few pitchers were able to help their cause like he did at the plate. Hitting that home run at 42 years old, hat popping off half the time when he swung. Just the epitome of what you look. And if you look at Baerga too, they both play with the Tribe. Did they play together?
I think they did, yeah.
Yes.
Do you think they compared notes on their health and dietary habits?
No,
early
you
in
know
their
what?
career?
Now that I'm thinking about it, they didn't play together.
They didn't play together?
I don't believe so. I don't think
Baerga was there.
I don't
when
think Cologne came till 97, and Baerga was traded in 96.
He'd already gotten swolled up by then. A little swollen, if you will.
Who, Baerga or?
Baerga and Cole. That's what I'm saying. If you look at them when they both signed with Cleveland, and then you look at them in their final years, I mean, it's a pretty impressive feat.
Looked like Tito.
I mean, exactly. I think you could even maybe put our guy Cece in there as well.
Cece, yeah.
And now he's really skinny. It's crazy.
He had a nice bulking plan there. When he was with the Yankees, I think there was days he was sweating. It was like 60 degrees on the mound. Just pouring up there. Some holidays, observances. It is Autistic Pride Day, Go Fishing Day, International Panic Day, International Picnic Day, International Sushi Day. So I guess you could panic at a picnic with some raw fish, National Cheesecake Day, National Cherry Tart Day, and National Splurge Day. And those are your historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays and observances for this date. Wednesday, June 18th, the 169th day of the year, 196 days remaining, in less than 2 weeks we have of the Shark.
Wow, that's depressing. Not for Shark. Anyway, nice job. Well done as always, General. What were you going to say there, Shark?
I was going to say, and then Tito is going to come produce the show.
That's exactly what's going to happen. You're right.
Could you be like a player manager, Thidoff? Did you suggest that to Fish?
Listen.
Do we need a new producer? No, I'll do it myself.
When I was a one-man show in the mornings, cutting up the audio and then doing live Sports Center updates, I literally had little signs, like Post-it notes, turn this one up, turn this one down, hit this button. That's all. I have no idea what they meant, what they were, like as far as
orders.
I just know, though, this is how I had to do it. I didn't know that.
I used to take pictures of the screen.
Yeah.
Of what it would look like, because I would come in, I would do some ESPN stuff here before I got my Comrex.
Right.
And when Earhart would set it up, I was like, hold on. And I would take a picture of it.
Yeah.
So I knew what touch buttons and how to put things up there.
When we came back from COVID, Bobby was in this studio, the historic crew studio, and Beamer was over in the main studio.
Right.
And I had to take a picture of Earhart set up the board so Bobby could broadcast out of here. I had to take a picture of it, so every day I would come in here and know which buttons to put up.
I was just trying to make sure you guys were safe.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob.
Hey, good news, Shark. You made it.
Made it.
Well, not yet. We still got a little time.
Well, it's because I'm still wearing a mask every day.
That's what it is.
That's only at home, Shark. You take that off when you come into work.
Does it, should it, will it matter? I'm talking about non-conference scheduling in college football. We'll talk about that next. Morning Juice.
Hey, veterans of Delaware County, looking for a fun and meaningful day out? Join Delaware County Veteran Services for a free bus trip on June 25th to the Mott's Military Museum in Groveport. Departing from the Delaware County Fairgrounds at 9 a.m., you'll enjoy a guided tour and lunch at the museum, all on us. This is a veterans-only event, and you must be a Delaware County resident to attend. Call 740-833-2010 today to reserve your seat. Or to learn more, visit Delaware County Veteran Service online. Space is limited. Don't miss this patriotic day of history and honor.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
We built a brand new studio just for Bobby, and Tito has already ruined it just by being here. I'm pregnant. This is Morning Juice.
It is Morning Juice. Tito, Shark, microphone's off again that time in the break, right? Just
it's really
sure.
a great question.
No, it's not. It's not a great question. It's a question.
I mean, people used to change their name at Ellis Island when they came over for a variety of reasons, shorten it up, tighten it up.
Sometimes they changed it for you.
Yeah, like, well, it suits up. That suits up for everybody over here. We're just going to tighten that bad boy up. Get a couple of those vowels out of there, knock the back end of it off, and there you go.
As we are going into the 2025 college football season, I saw this thing on CBS Sports about the way the schedules are breaking up for each conference, the Power Four. Non-conference games against Power Four opponents. Which conference do you think plays the most among the Power Four, and which one the fewest, Bobby? Non-conference games against Power Four teams. Which conference has the most scheduled games this upcoming season?
The Big Ten has the most teams, so they're going to have a good shot at that.
Okay.
The only problem is they only play 3 conference games like the Big 12, and the ACC, I think, only plays 3 as well, correct? Do they play 9?
The ACC?
Yeah.
I think they. I think they. I don't know if they play 9 or not. Good question. How much? I think they.
I know the Big 12 does.
Right.
The SEC plays 8. So you have one more opportunity in there. Now the ACC does have that overlay with the SEC where they do always have a certain number locked in. I'm going to say the Big Ten simply due to the fact that they have the largest conference with the most teams. So they won't have the most games because the SEC has 4, but generally everybody plays at least one FCS school in there. So
According to this, the ACC plays 26 non-conference Power 4 games. That's the most.
So there you go. So those extra built-in ones against the SEC help.
SEC has 18. Big 12 has 16. Big 10 has 12. 12 non-conference Power 4 games.
Which, if you think about it, the Big Ten, Ohio State didn't play one last year, so.
And they are playing one this year.
Yeah, which you're usually going to play one. If you have 4 games, you might play 2, but outside of that, that'd be tough.
As far as non-Power 4 games, ACC and Big Ten both play 42. SEC plays 46. That's the first one, and the Big 12 has 32. So, and I wonder if that'll change much depending on what happens with the playoff. Do you think those numbers will switch if they go to if they somehow, and I know there's talks right now about there are meetings going on, but about the, adjusting it and if there'll be automatic bids or not and whatnot. But is that something that you think, based on what we will see the CFP be going forward, the next iteration of it?
Well, Bielema came out and said the Big Ten coaches all voted to stay at 9 games, and they all wanted to play an SEC team. And the SEC coaches did not vote the same way on that. They wanted to stay at 8 and did not want to play a Big Ten team. So, I don't know. I think if they do those locked-in bids, I think you could see it happen.
What was your opinion when that first was talked about, and what's your opinion on it now?
I don't like the auto bids.
Okay.
But I also don't like...
You like the auto champion bids, but not beyond that.
Yeah, I don't want... Yeah, the auto bids mean like each conference is getting 4 and whatever. And I'm not a big fan of that. But I do like the fact that, hey, you're going to play a 9th conference game. And then you know what? Like, we want to talk about who the best conference is. Let's have 2 of the best play each other every year. Or try to have some sort of scheduling agreement where you're getting a large number of those Power 4 non-conference games are between these 2 conferences.
I also saw, Bobby, that Texas State is being talked about as
ported to the Pac-12.
And that would be the last piece going into the Pac-12. And I thought about this. I don't want them to call themselves the Pac-12 or the Pac anything. I think they...
Why is that?
Because that's not... I think they should rebrand it as something else.
Why would they want to do that?
Because it's not the Pac-12, Bobby. It's not the Pac.
We're not the Big Ten either.
No, we are the Big Ten. I understand.
How many tens do you have?
I understand. There's a lot of teams in it.
Maybe we could go to 20. We'll call them the Big 2 tens. How about that, Shark? You like that one?
I'm just saying, Bobby, like it's...
Because Stanford and Cal scream ACC.
They don't. They do not. And you know what? USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, they do not scream Big Ten either. And neither does Nebraska, for that matter. Or Maryland or Rutgers. But the core of the Big Ten has been there since they were called the Big Ten. And
the core of the Pac-12 is going to be there.
No, the core of the Pac-12 will not be there.
Who do you think Oregon State and Washington State are?
That's not the core. That's 2 teams.
Well, the core is by the core of the earth is not a large percentage of the earth.
I think the core, though,
the core of an apple is not the majority of the apple.
Okay, so if I tell you that the core of Ohio State's defense is back.
Home of the birthplace that gave us Mike Leach.
I know, but it might be like Ohio State's got
crafty and cunning. The Cougar finds a way.
Ohio State's got some key defensive players that are coming back this year from last year's team, but the core of the defense is gone.
And you could make because people would make the argument that the defensive line was probably the core of that team.
I think that you got Sawyer gone, you've got JTT gone, you've got you got the defensive backs that are gone as well.
Okay,
I say the core is the. Go ahead.
So I'm going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
So, would you say the core of the Chiefs dynasty is still intact?
I would say the core of the Chiefs dynasty, yes.
Okay. So I want you to go look. And we can pull up their starters today, the 22 and projected 22 in 2025,
right?
Versus what that was in 19 or 2018 when they won their first Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay.
18 or 19,
right?
Even that team that lost to New England in the AFC Championship, And I guarantee you there's probably of the 22 at least 12, if not 14 new starters.
I totally agree with that, Bobby.
But because they have Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes.
And Andy Reid.
And
I'm saying that
he only counts as one, though, despite his girthiness.
No, I'm just saying, but Oregon State and Washington State are not Mahomes or Reid or Kelce to the Pac-10, Pac-12, Pac-14, whatever it was.
Ryan Leaf went to school.
I understand that. That's
you realize
fine.
that Chad Johnson and T.J. Howell-Mizzou went to Oregon State.
Traditional spelling on Howell-Mizzou.
Dennis Erickson.
Yes.
The original drunk coach. Well, maybe Gary Moeller was the first. He was the second.
I don't remember him being the drunk coach. He was?
He was the coach when they smoked Notre Dame in 2000 with Chad Johnson and T.J. Houshmandzadeh and those guys.
But the core, though, for me, Bobby, means important pieces. Also means it could mean a significant number or it could just mean the most important pieces.
Don't besmirch the importance of a beaver.
That's the reason why many of us are here today. I think that the Pac-12, though, I would rebrand it, though. I would call it something else because I think it's disingenuous.
That might be disingenuous, Thidoff, but you lie all the time.
Disadvantageous.
That's amazing you got that right yesterday. But they've got years of branding with this, so why would they want to do away with something that is highly recognizable?
Because,
and in all fairness, the majority of their teams are going to be located in the same states that made up and constituted the original Pac-12.
This would be akin to Paul McCartney going on the road right now with 3 other people, random people, and calling themselves the Beatles.
What do you think the Beach Boys were doing for years?
And also, yeah, but that's why I'm saying though, Bob. That's my point is that.
What's Brian up to?
I think he's with the Queen, if not mistaken. Probably
I think fairly recently.
Tea and crumpets.
He's the newest member of the Queen's Tea Party.
What the hell's a crumpet?
Some sort of.
Do you know what it is, Shark? What
pastry,
a crumpet is?
Cookie. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a dry
cookie
biscuit kind of.
Those are terrible. Who would want to eat that?
Is that a London thing? Is that an England thing?
Or maybe I'm thinking of a scone.
Scone is dry.
Scone is
crumpet.
Scone is from France, right? Crumpet, is that from England?
I think scone is from England.
You do?
Well, let me look.
Don't worry about it. No, we'll do a break. You don't have to tell us. I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. Somebody in the chat. That's the beauty of the chat and the fact we've got such a healthy number of chatters, Bobby, is they will tell us things like that. By the way, they also want you to do push-ups during the break. That's something else that came out. They didn't say who it was, but they just said somebody, I think. I think it was directed towards you.
Can you name the members of... By the way, Oregon State and Washington State they've been in the Pac-12 for over 100 years.
I don't think of the Pac-12. I think of those. The Pac-12 for me is USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington.
Can
Stanford,
you name
Cal.
the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 schools that are the future members of the Pac-12?
Wasn't Boise one of them?
That is one.
Boise State's
Fresno
one of them.
State.
That is 2.
San Jose State.
Spartans.
It's not San Jose.
No?
I guessed that, the other day with Rick Neuheisel.
Name dropping.
Man.
I don't know who the ones would be on that one. Utah State.
Ron Burgundy had
Gonzaga in basketball.
They're
Gonzaga
basketball only,
basketball,
but that is
yeah.
true. That is factually
That's
accurate.
Too, yeah.
What did you just say, Thidoff?
Utah State.
That's the 4th. You have 2 more to go.
I don't know what the ones would be there, Sharky. I don't know what.
Cal
State Fullerton? No.
No, Fresno. You are right. Fresno is one of them.
Well, you said Fresno. San Jose is one you
San
said,
Jose.
wasn't it?
Yeah, San Jose is not.
Okay.
It is Colorado State and
Eastern Washington. No.
San Diego State.
Okay. All right.
And then they are looking to potentially bring in, is it Arkansas State?
Joe tells us scone is English.
There you go. We're learning something new every day. But yeah, they're looking to bring in Texas State because they need Texas State you need to have 8 to be able to comprise an actual football conference.
Okay.
And since Gonzaga is only a basketball member, they need to bring in someone else.
And that's why the Texas State thing.
And that's why the Texas State thing is right there.
Change the damn name of the conference. So don't call yourselves a Pac-12.
They're working hard at it.
I know. Coming up next, quick hitters, Morning Juice.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad. And I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Some journeys start small, with small pause and big purpose.
Look how little you are, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step,
Bella, let's go.
guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Hey, good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting and thriving, like basketball analyst and cancer champion Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. Join our team to help fund game-changing research that saves lives. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over the odds. V is for victory over health disparities, victory over setbacks, victory over the unknown. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate to the V Foundation to join our team and help save lives.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul.
100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now to the V Foundation at v.org.
If you're looking for the inside scoop on the Buckeyes, you've come to the right place. This is Morning Juice.
All right, Morning Juice. The chatters always come through for us. We found out that the scone, English, the crumpet, English as well. Crumpet just is a bad, they have branded that one wrong because that sounds like crappy food.
That's a skilleted biscuit.
That's what it is. But the chatters always come through for us with that kind of knowledge. We appreciate that. Let's do some quick hitters.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
Sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping,
Oh my
call
God,
Dr.
yes.
Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
Are you a snorer, Tito?
I snore through the CPAP sometimes, yes.
Ooh, wow, that's rough.
Yeah.
Former Braves, Cardinals, Mets, Yankees, and Dodgers manager Joe Torre is now 84 years old. He's going to be 85 a month from today. Hasn't managed in 15 years, but he's going to be back in uniform for the Midsummer Classic. Torre, for the 5 teams he managed, were in the National League, but he's going to be an honorary coach for the American League at the All-Star Game next month in Atlanta. He is going to join current Yankees skipper Aaron Boone's staff, along with Guardians manager Stephen Vogt. Tito, remember when the baseball All-Star Game mattered and you didn't have honorary coaches, honorary anything?
Yeah, I liked when they had the honorary captains, when they'd roll out a couple of old guys, that played 50 years prior or something, be honorary captains. I enjoyed
You remember
that.
when they wheeled out Ted Williams
Out there
in
at
Boston?
Fenway, and
Yeah.
everyone came around him. That was a very cool moment.
Yep.
And since the All-Star Game means nothing anymore, I'm okay with things like this. Hell, Shark, I wish they would bring in former players and let them
Ted
play in the game.
Williams, is he the one that his family, they cut his head off
Yeah.
and
Yes.
have it frozen? That's good.
Yeah.
He said he's got a good eye for the ball, so hopefully they
He's
can bring
going
him
to come back in 2099 and not know anybody.
He'll turn him into a robot head. That'll be amazing.
But no, I remember they did the old timers game for a while. Joe
I think
Cronin.
the Yankees still do.
They do.
play
I
an
think
old-timers
they do. They do. But I'm just saying, like in things like this, if you got guys who just retired in the last few years that want to go out and play, I'd put them in the All-Star game, since it doesn't really matter who wins these games anymore, and it doesn't really matter who plays against who because they all see each other all year long. Back when we were younger, Shark,
Back in my day,
and we would see things like you could see Nolan Ryan against Pete Rose. The only time you really see him doing that is in the All-Star game because the Angels weren't going to the World Series ever back then. And so that's what I liked about that. But if somebody, I'm trying to think who's retired in the last few years. If all of a sudden, if Jeter said, I'd like to play in the All-Star game again, I'd let him come in and play as long as, he's in decent shape still. I would let any former player who wants to do that who's got some kind of like a legacy there to play in those games. So I don't mind this anymore. Just make it about, I would incorporate the old-timers with the current players, though.
I haven't watched a baseball All-Star game in I don't know how long.
Come on, Bob.
It used to mean something, though, Bob.
Yeah, Pete Rose would slide in and go hard. You know?
Ray
Now,
Foster knocked my catcher out.
Exactly. You know what they should have done? I mean, if they wanted to mean something, they should have brought back Charlie Hustle instead of banning him from the game. They should have kept letting him play in the All-Star games.
I think we got an announcement from Manfred saying, just so everyone knows, if Pete Rose were alive today and wanted to play in the All-Star game, we would let him.
Yes.
We'd also let him manage a team. If he wants to do it, his lifetime ban's over. If he was still here, though.
Shoeless Joe, him too.
Yes.
Because you can't bet.
Even though he's been dead for like 50 years, now he's allowed in because Pete died.
You can bet on an All-Star game, but who cares?
Right.
I think they ought to go the route of football, the NFL, and have a skills competition. We're going to stick this guy out in center field and see if he can throw a strike to home plate.
Get rid of all the All-Star games.
If they threw I was talking about that Roberto Clemente throw, like, hey, have somebody at 300 feet, have them ping one off of the wall, and they have to turn up from the track and gun it to home.
Yeah.
It's like just have the trash can at home and see if they can throw it in there.
Throw it in the trash can.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Hey, that's like what they do in the NFL. They've got like the little the targets that move
that are
across
moving.
the field. That's all it would be.
These things are all dumb. Get rid of all the All-Star games. All of them. They're dumb.
I think you should name an All-Star team, but not play.
Yeah, I would rather see that skills challenge. Like, I want to see how many guys, like, show me the guys with the biggest arm in the outfield, or I don't know what you would do, some sort of double play thing or some shortstop stuff inside. But like that would be fun. That's the fielding equivalent to a home run derby, in my opinion.
The the baseball All-Star game jumped the shark the year that Torrey said, I ran out of pitchers. We're not going to continue the game.
That was awesome.
That's when it ended. Nobody was calling it the race of the century, but NFL fans were curious to find out just how fast Tyreek Hill is. Hill challenged Olympic 100-meter champion Noah Lyles to a 50-yard race. That race was scheduled for this weekend in New York's Times Square, but now Lyles has canceled the race for quote-unquote personal reasons.
Yellow.
A lot of trash talking flying between Hill and Lyles, but now we will never know. Bob, I think the shorter the race, so going 50 yards instead of 100 meters, the better chance that Tyreek had to run. They were going to run 50 yards.
I think he would have him. I think he could get him at 50.
I think
70 to 75 would be where you'd start to see Lyles would probably get him.
Yeah, and runners know how to start.
Oh yeah,
as opposed to a guy standing on a yard line just taking off.
Sure.
I don't know that Hill would have beaten him, but I would have liked to watch it.
40 to 50, it's pretty tight. 60 to 70, that's where you're going to see Lyles separate. And that would have been fun to watch.
Yep.
That's the stuff I always enjoyed seeing those guys battle, and like everybody always wants to question who's faster. Well, and it's tough because Tyreek Hill plays in a game. He's wearing pads. How often do you see him get down and run? And he obviously has track times from when he was younger, but I think that would have been something that, for taking less than 5 seconds, the build-up, they'd find a way to sell it to you for an hour, and then the race is 5 seconds long, but it would be fun to watch.
No, Lyles has nothing to gain by doing this.
Money.
Okay, money. I'm saying, but nothing though. Like as
Yeah,
far as
the honors in the dollar.
But if he loses a Tyreek Hill, it looks bad for him.
Yep.
Looks bad for track people if he loses.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He should feel supremely confident that you could beat some guy who just plays football. And the fact that it's not like they were doing this for free. They put this thing on TV. Like, what else is Noah Lyles doing right now?
Right now, just he's being Kurt Signetti. He's being cowardly is what he's doing.
Coward. I mean,
I'm just saying.
There's nothing else pressing on the calendar for him that he's got to be a part of.
He's training for the 28 Olympics in L.A.
I think that
I would running around fires and homeless and the National Guard. Is that how the training's going?
Look, I would watch something like this if they were going to pull it off and they were going to have in your prelim races. If you have somebody who wants to race Bolt or somebody who wants to compete against another guy in like a football player against somebody else in another event. By the way,
Fitoff versus his 11-year-old son.
Now listen, this weekend
or 9-year-old son.
There was a lot of talk around the card table about my take on Deion's toes. Now I could beat him in a race.
Deion Sanders racing Jeff Thitoff.
And
that's the race the folks really want.
We came to the conclusion. I said if there was a no-toed Olympics, but I had all 10 of mine, I would take gold in almost every event. The one I couldn't, the one I know I wouldn't be able to take gold in because it'd be a tie, would be like the high jump or maybe the pole vault kind of thing. Like that kind of thing. Because you got to at least do it.
Right.
But if we're doing hurdles, I'll just walk up and knock them down and keep walking while the other guys are all falling behind me. I think I would take gold. I would be the Jesse Owens, the Bruce Jenner, if you will, of the no-toed Olympics if I had all 10 of mine.
What card game were you playing around the card table?
We play 31 euchre. Those ones. The 31's kind of like euchre. It's just like you play with 6 people and you have other cards in there, but it's kind of similar to that where you got to call tricks and call Trump and all that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun though.
They were going to close down Times Square for this.
I know.
Do you know what movie they closed Times Square for, Bob? I'm asking you because Tito would never know this.
Land of the Apes.
Recent.
Tom Cruise. I'm going to say 20 years ago.
20
Cameron Diaz, Penelope Cruz.
No relation.
I'm trying to think of what movie Tom and Penelope would have been in together. 20 years ago, so 2005.
Like Vanilla something?
That's Vanilla Sky.
Is that what it is?
How'd you know that?
Dude, look, I've never seen it.
Vanilla Sky. Good job.
I've got stupid knowledge.
That was about 20 years ago. That's right when I was like...
They shut it down for that, huh?
They shut down Times Square for like an hour. And Cruz is running through the streets of New York. No cars, nothing.
Right.
Pretty amazing.
Was it a good movie?
No.
It wasn't.
It was really weird.
Weird. It's very bizarre.
All right.
So it may not be bad. It's just bizarre.
All right. That's it for Quick Hitters. Thanks so much, Shark. Well done, as always, General Shark. Soon to be retired General Shark. All right, coming up next, I've got a futures bet I want to place. That's next. Morning Juice.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fan favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS-FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. Bobby's knees hurt from doing battle with some of football's toughest warriors. Tito's knees hurt from begging Bobby to let him host this show.
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know, me!
This is Morning Juice.
It's Morning Juice. I'm going to have this conversation with the two of you. I want to keep it on point, Shark.
We never keep anything on point. What are you talking about?
I don't want to stray into some of our past arguments and disagreements.
All right.
It may go there anyway. I'm saying I'm not going to force it that way, though.
How you root for Michigan every single week except one?
How? No, you see, that's
how Kyrie Irving is selfish.
He was selfish, but yes, I would like to see Michigan be undefeated every day they play Ohio State, and Ohio State kicks their butts. I want to see Michigan fans suffer the way some of us did during the Cooper years. Love John Cooper, thought he did a lot of great things, but Michigan week was always very tough.
You're kind.
Okay, so
kind.
I'm saying I want Michigan fans to feel that pain we felt in those years.
All right, you're straying now.
Well, because you started it, but you started it. LeBron James say he doesn't expect to play in the 2028 Olympics. Where are those Olympics, Shark?
L.A.
He said, I don't see it happening.
That would be his 5th Olympics?
Would it be his 6th? Could it be his 6th? Would it be his 5th?
I know they
always make me work.
I remember in 2000. Or not 2000. Was it 2000?
He was drafted in, what, 03?
So the 2000, was he on the 04 team?
I don't know. He might not have been on the 04 team. I'm trying to think about that. He might not have been on the 04. He must be 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, right?
So this would be his 5th.
8. This would be his 6th. 8, probably the first one. 12, 16, 20, 24, 28.
Okay, maybe you're right in that. And in 8.
2008, 2012, 2024.
Oh, he's only played in 3?
Yep. Yeah, he missed. He skipped.
Oh, he did 2 of them? He skipped 16 and 20 both?
Well, they didn't have.
Oh, they didn't have it. You're right, yes.
He did play in 04 also.
He did play in 04.
Okay, so
I would have been after his rookie year.
Yeah, I knew
they won the bronze.
He was on that team that got 3rd.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh,
he was part of that embarrassment that got 3rd.
Won 3 gold medals and 1 bronze.
Okay, so this would be his 5th. Do you really think, this is the bet I was going to place, I would bet on LeBron playing in the 2028 Olympics in L.A. He says he doesn't think he will. Do you really think LeBron would skip the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles?
Yeah, because he's loyal to the Lakers that off. He said that he didn't want to injure their chances of winning an NBA
that'd be unselfish.
Finals.
That'd be unselfish if he did that.
He told me there's this guy out in Ohio that I've been listening to who told me that the most selfish thing that I could do would be to play in the Olympics, and I need to dedicate my body, my heart, my soul to the Los Angeles Lakers.
For all the money they're paying him? He's already won them, though. He has won them their title now.
They've got like 20 titles.
He's won him a title there, though. And he also is very durable. He does not miss a lot of games. My take
this
on
year
Kyrie
was the most
was
injured he's been in a long time.
My take on Kyrie was it was after he had all those injuries. Every year he got hurt. Then he has the longest season of his career when the Cavs won the championship. The longest season, the most games he had played, and then went and played in the Olympics. I think his body, he needed to take time off. Nonetheless, I digress.
I think it would have been selfish had he not tried to win a gold for his country. Anyway, Tito, my take on this, if you're asking me, I'm just the producer. I think LeBron will be retired in 2028. So
Do you think that they could ceremonially have him in there?
They brought Magic back in
That's what I'm saying.
92.
Magic came back for this, and here's the thing. You could make the argument even at that point that he's still one of the best 10 players in the world.
In the United States.
No, LeBron.
LeBron in
the United States.
In more than 3 years from now.
Right.
I don't know. He is today, but I don't know.
I didn't think there was ever a chance that he would be doing what he's doing at 40.
Because nobody ever has.
I mean, he's still like Kareem played, but LeBron is still a top 5 defender. I mean, he's
still 28, 7 and 7.
That's what I'm saying. And he's still a top flight defender. That's the other thing. Usually your defense goes first because you can't move anymore. You might still be able to shoot and you can still dribble, but you don't have the raw athleticism. He can still go out there and defend 1 to 4.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
I think that since we know the United States should likely win the gold medal anyway, they should have the most talented team regardless in 2028. And I believe LeBron's ego and his.
Has anyone ever won 4 gold medals in basketball?
Carmelo won 3, didn't he? Or did he win 4?
He won 3, I think.
Carmelo won 3. In basketball, I can't think of, because you got to figure it has to be someone for the U.S. And
obviously
nobody could play more than 1 for the longest time
until 92,
right?
And then Jordan would have played in his second one that year because he played in the Olympics.
Jordan won 2, right?
But he never played in the 96. So
no, I'm thinking from that 92.
I think Carmelo's the most decorated.
I think David Robinson probably played in 2 Olympics.
He did. He has 2 as well. But I don't know if anyone has more than 3, and Carmelo has that. And that would give him a chance to be on that mantle by himself.
Because the U.S. has 25 gold medals. Kevin Durant has 4. That's what I'm seeing on AI here.
Kevin
12,
Durant.
16, 20, and 24.
That would give him the opportunity to pass Durant or to Tiger Durant.
I just Googled it. Yeah. Who has the most basketball gold medals? What player? Diana Taurasi has 6.
Yeah, she's the one. Yes. And I could see Durant playing in 2028 too. I see both. I'm fine with it.
Now Durant, here's the thing: in 4 years, I don't know how much gas he's going to have left.
Might not have much left, but I'm just saying though, it's the Olympics.
And the thing is, like Durant is really purely a scorer. Like LeBron could go out there and in the Olympic setup give you 10, 8, and 8, and not score and just pass.
Right.
And get boards and still be a good defensive player. Like everybody would want to play with LeBron still because he's a guy that can facilitate other things to other people.
Yes.
Whereas like Durant, you're just throwing the ball into a black hole of shooting. He's like the next Carmelo Anthony.
In 92, Bird was very much he did not play a lot in the Olympics. He played some, but he had his back issue. You'd see him laying down on the side all the time. So LeBron would do better than Bird did there.
Also, the talent level has caught up significantly among the rest of the world. That was more like a Harlem Globetrotters. Like, let's dance around and score some points and do some different things.
The bigger question is, how does he find a way to get one of his sons on the team or both of them? Because
honestly, more impressive with him finding a way to get his son on the team than him playing.
If you got Bronny and Bryce,
both of them,
okay,
let me
tell you this right now, and I mean this. I'd be okay with it.
Get out of here.
Listen, I'd be okay with it.
You're taking a roster spot of somebody, though.
Listen, LeBron has done so much for the NBA, and he's represented the NBA so well. If LeBron said, I'm going to play, but only if both my sons are on the team, if I'm the U.S. Olympic Committee, I'd say, okay, that's fine. Let's do it.
Get out of here, man.
I would
it's
do
once every 4 years. You
I
can't
understand
rob
that.
spot from someone that is deserving.
What year is Bryce? Is he
I
like
think
a junior in
I
high
think he's
school?
like 17 years old, yeah.
Do we know where he's going to college?
Arizona.
He's already committed.
Yeah, to Arizona. Of course, LeBron always said he'd go to Ohio State himself if he would have done it.
Well,
of course he did.
I'm going to say in 2028, in the summer of 2028, Bryce James will still be in college.
Might be. But still, Leitner was. So now, will LeBron ever be beloved like Jordan?
No.
Even like 20 years from now, 15 years from now, because people now, the way that people talk about Jordan, you would think he never missed a buzzer beat. Never missed a game-winning shot at the end.
That's true of everything, though.
I know, right? It is.
I told someone I became a lot better player 20 years after I got done playing.
The older you get, the better you were, Bobby. Right? I mean,
people only remember the good things,
right?
And you fail to remember
and that's
the bad.
That's why I'm curious. So, will LeBron ever get that? I don't know if he will because,
no.
You don't think like 15, 20 years people say, man, LeBron did not get enough love. And
I think people might appreciate him more.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know if, like, to Shark's point, I don't think they're going to sit there and say that he's as beloved as Jordan.
I just didn't know, like, if as time goes on, if people will have that perspective. Because, yes, people now believe that Jordan, right? You can have the argument Jordan, whatever, Kobe, LeBron, whatever, however you want to do it. You can frame it different ways and come up with different answers depending on how you shake up the magic 8-ball, the dice. But
maybe if LeBron died tragically like Kobe, that is another thing that also helps elevate you because then you never get to see people.
Because I never thought Kobe was a top 10 player in NBA history.
I didn't either.
And all of a sudden, people are putting him up there with LeBron and Michael now.
Yeah.
Like he was the third best player of all time. Like, I don't think so. He never made anybody around him better.
I don't know. Don't tell Lamar Odom that.
Now I will.
Lamar had a little problem too.
I think that with Kobe, I respect him more than I did back then as a player. And part of that's because I've heard so much about his work ethic, and maybe I didn't pay attention to back then. May have all been out there, but how hard he worked, how much he put his body through to get ready.
Because when people die young, like then you really lean in on the good stuff.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
No one's going to besmirch the dead.
No, but I know. But when he died, though, Bobby, he was 4 years removed, whatever, from his playing career. So it wasn't like you died mid-career. But just going back since then and seeing the different video clips of him and hearing the stories from other players that came out after that about watching him work and the things he did, that's the part that amazes me more. And so I'm with you, Shark. I never thought he was a top 10 player when he was alive, top 10 all-time NBA. I think the last few years, he shot way too much. His shooting percentages are awful. And
not awful. There were times where it was awful, and he was on some teams that were not good.
They were really, really bad.
That's the counterpoint. I was like, who am I going to pass it to? Who's someone else going to score? Because I know I can more often than they can. And so, but I know that Jordan, though, every year that passes, and the fact that that documentary came out, the 10-parter, The Last Dance, opened a lot of people's eyes who had not seen him before, got to see Jordan.
Jordan is, if you look at how he's handled the media, I mean, he was always very deferential to everybody else, and then he was never really heard or talked about a lot. Whereas LeBron, and part of it is we're in a different era now where you're over-inundated and oversaturated with these guys, and so they have that opportunity and ability where Jordan, that was never the case. And then after his retirement, I mean, he kind of receded into the backdrop for a long time. Now he's going to be on NBC, which people are really excited. But before The Last Dance, people really hadn't seen him do a whole lot in a number of years. He's not like Magic that'll jump on the NBA Finals calls and do like that. I mean, nobody – it's a little bit like Tiger. Like, you don't see him really anywhere other than, like, caddying for his son. So people are like, oh, gosh, we love this guy. Like, when you don't say anything, like, people they want more of you when you're not always out there.
The story, good. Sorry.
I just think, to Bobby's point, I think social media has just created this firestorm of criticism for anybody.
Yeah. We're all.
I used to, I grew up like Jack Nicklaus won 18 majors, and he finished second 19 times.
Right.
And that was a great thing. Can you imagine that? He finished second 19 times. Now, Tiger's got 5 runner-up finishes in majors, and God, yeah, what a loser. He couldn't pull it out, that kind of thing. People are so critical, and especially if you make it to the top, they're looking for ways to cut you down. I don't know really how you can complain too much about Caitlin Clark.
Right, yeah.
But they do.
So when you hear the stories about Jordan gambling, drinking, playing cards, all this stuff before games or, in days off and whatnot. You hear the stories about Kobe's work ethic and what he did to prepare himself to get ready year-round, the way he played.
Yep.
The way he took care of himself.
First one to practice, last one to leave.
Yes. LeBron has maximized his fitness as well. Is it safe to say out of those 3, Michael Jordan took the least advantage of his abilities?
No, because I think they talked about him and how hard he worked and different things. They just talked about how hard he lived.
Right.
And now that's viewed as endearing because of his competitive nature and how he was able to do these things. And now there's like some reverence for that. And it's almost goes down in lore about, the pizza, or was he hungover,
right,
the sickness, whatever it is, like all these different things. And I think people now almost look at it because he was undefeated in the finals as he was just tougher than everybody else.
And he played a ton of minutes, never wanted to sit out. And Kobe the same way. Kobe always said he wants to play every game because there might be a kid there whose parents spent a lot of money for that one time to see him, and he doesn't want to be, load management crap and all that kind of stuff. But I just wonder, could Jordan have been better? Whereas when I look at LeBron, I think LeBron is as good as he could possibly be for the entirety of his career.
Yeah, and he also has played a lot longer than Jordan
He has. He's put.
That's the point. Is like he's taken care of himself to a point where
Sure.
his decline has been so gradual that most people, if you put on a game from now versus 5 years ago, people
Right.
would be able to tell the difference.
Yeah,
which has never been the case in the history of sports.
His body is unbelievable. If you look at Jordan's last couple of years with Washington,
yeah,
he had put on some pounds.
Yep.
He clearly wasn't the same player. Whereas LeBron, like Bobby said, if you looked at him when he was 30 as opposed to 40, you wouldn't see much difference. I do think where Kobe and Michael had an advantage over LeBron, I don't know if you'd call it an advantage, their competitiveness was...
Yeah, no doubt, yes.
Over the top. I don't feel like LeBron... Boy, that's a tough thing to say, that he's not as competitive.
Has the same edge that they do.
I don't think that those guys, Michael
doesn't have the killer instinct those guys had.
Would not lose. He was going to will his
Yes.
team to win. But as far as just on the court talent,
right,
and LeBron could have played all 5 positions.
Yes,
and has played all 5 positions. He could play center or point guard.
Right.
He's more like Magic than he is Michael.
Yes, I agree with that one. I think, though, he's maximized his talents.
Yes.
Yeah. Michael, of course, missed 1 year and 3 quarters, probably due to gambling. It's never
Right.
been proven
Sure.
when he went to baseball. But, yeah, think about the number. I bet you he wishes today he'd have played those.
I think
1
so,
and
too.
3
Could you imagine
quarters
if he had 8 titles? If he had 8 in a row, which could have happened.
I don't think it could have happened because he did come back for
17 games, but he was out.
But in the playoffs, what did he average? 35 that
he
year
did,
when he came back?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Let's put it this way. People don't count that against him for not getting to the finals or winning the finals that year.
Right.
If he'd have won the finals, they would certainly count
it could be huge.
He won 7.
No, it doesn't matter. But I think that I don't believe Jordan got the most out of his abilities. Fantastic, probably the greatest player of all time. I also, I put him not in the same category as, but a similar thing. I look at it like kind of a Shaq thing. Like, Shaq was an incredible player. Did not take care of himself. Did not get the most out of his abilities for sure.
Listen, man. Shaq and Sean Kemp and Barkley, those guys, they were the epitome of what you want your players to be workout-wise, commitment-wise, dedication.
I don't know about Barkley, what he did.
Oh, Barkley got fat.
I know he got fat at the end. I'm saying for Barkley, though, being 6'4".
Yeah, Barkley was an overachiever.
Yes.
Shaq
But he also
wasn't.
got fat at the end.
He did. He certainly did. But, I mean, what is the top 20 rebounder in history? And he was 6'4"?
Yes.
They listed him at 6'6", but he's not 6'6".
There's no way he's 6'6", no.
Shaq.
Barkley at this point isn't taller than me.
What are you, 6'3"?
Yeah, I mean, I met him. Maybe he was having a hard time standing straight up, but I don't know if he was much taller than me.
I think if you had a real weakness, you would have done anything in the world to improve. And Shaq never improved his free throw shooting.
No, never did.
He made it when it mattered, he said.
He should have scored 2,000 more points than he did. Yeah. But he didn't work on it.
And he refused, even when somebody suggested to him about shooting underhanded. Less with Rick Barry, he's like, I'm not doing that.
George Mikan shot underhanded. As I was cutting that thing up for this date in history yesterday, he shot free throws underhanded.
I did not know that about George Mikan. Huh. All right, coming up next, never short of Ohio State and college football news. Austin Ward's going to give us his insights. That's next. Morning Juice.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps Seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
My son Ian was diagnosed with a brain tumor at the age of 16 months. The outlook was pretty rough. I mean, it was, we had no hope until St. Jude rescued us. I mean, they saved him. To this date, we are 12 years into this journey, and from day one, we've never once seen a bill. It gave us the peace of mind to know that we're there with our son, and we're gonna beat cancer together. Now, he is doing really, really well. He's alive because of what St. Jude has done. He's here because of the doctors who came before, their blood, their sweat, their tears, the knowledge accumulated and shared, with everyone else around the world. This is how we get rid of this, how we help kids beat cancer all over. It's the future.
Together, we will make cures possible for every child everywhere. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's been a real journey since 2014 when I first had my injury. I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need, and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Bobby is the all-American male. Tito pulled a hammy getting his mail. This is Morning Juice.
Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Austin Ward never takes a day off. Austin and Berm's podcast, by the way, the daily podcast, The Beat with Austin and Berm, is now available on 10TV Plus app. Download the 10TV Plus app today on Apple TV, Amazon, Fire, Roku. Stay locked in with those boys on the latest Buckeye Talk wherever you go. You can also search Austin and Berm wherever you get your podcasts. Austin, the question's on my mind since the last time we talked, and I can't wait to hear your answer on this one. If you meet somebody named Carl, but they spell their name with a K, do you trust them less?
Well, let me answer this by saying, can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you now, yes.
We can hear you through the phone.
Through the phone we can, yes.
Phone. All right, great. Well, I don't need this microphone then.
There you go.
Does that. Yeah, I don't know why you would name your son or daughter Carl with a K, because it's inherently trustworthy to spell it differently. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, Shark likes a Carl with a K because that's how Karl Marx spelled his name, and that's his favorite.
Well, he's probably contributed a lot to this day in history, so that gives him an advantage right there. He appreciates any of that. But yeah, I had to start. I wasn't sure if anyone would be able to hear me, and I'm on the phone, and I don't know if my video is now working. Shark tells me that I'm the only one that has this issue. Rhyme Time last night was telling me that he dialed in the first time and went straight in, audio, video. So I apologize for that. And Bob,
Austin, did you turn your video off?
No.
Oh man,
I'm still.
I'm not getting you by video now.
It's the best you've looked in years.
Sitting here staring at you guys. I don't know what's happening. Here, how about that?
There we go. Now you're back. Now you're back.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, Shark. We're gonna troubleshoot this live on air. I go into vMix and it shows me a red phone. So I'm sure that's what's stopping the video. But I tried to hit that and it hung up the last time. So anyway, I don't know what's causing any of that. Bob, I am so sorry and so appreciative that I had to use your headphones on the Buckeye Show last night.
Oh, it's fine.
I disinfected. I polished and cleaned. I want to make sure that these are better than when I found them.
That's good. As long as you commit to watching the rest of the series of Arrow, then I think we can be friends.
I got home last night, and Allie and Berm were in the main living room, the large TV. That's where I need to be watching whatever we choose. And Arrow was on downstairs. Now that's crossing one of the lines. We've not brought Arrow back down for Allie's binge session. We wound up watching Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and she's like, "Well, I've seen enough here," and she went upstairs, and I don't know how many more episodes she watched. She's got to be close to the end. And I did, Bob, really like the first few seasons of Arrow, but I think there was a pretty steep drop-off in quality.
How many seasons of Arrow are there?
I don't know. There's a lot, he said. I don't know how much I watched. My kids found it. We were watching. I'm like, man, and this was like 6-7 years ago when it was on, and like, man, this is kind of adult content here. Like some of the stuff that's going on, and like my RJ was probably in like 4th grade or 5th grade. Then I was like, this is not appropriate for you, but I enjoyed it, so we kept watching it.
My wife and Charlotte and already watch it with Heather all the time. I'm not sure what season they're on.
It's not kid-appropriate.
Listen, there is nothing in my house that goes on with Heather that's kid-appropriate, but my kids still find a way to appropriate themselves into it.
Yeah, I think there are 8 seasons, Bob, and I'll get texts from upstairs to downstairs, or I got one last night during the Buckeye Show that's like, Cody Rhodes is back on Arrow. This is going to be good. And you'd think, because Arrow and Stephen Amell in the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, it's like they were trying, and comic book universe, like they were trying to make this show just for me, and I just couldn't stick with it. They even had the crossovers where Stephen Amell and Cody Rhodes, when he was Stardust, had like a tag team match at SummerSlam, and Amell is a huge wrestling fan. He created another show later on called Heels that I think they're trying to revitalize and bring back to life. It was on Stars. It was pretty good. Like, they did everything they could to try and hook me in, and I was for a while, but then I woke up and I was like, I can't do anymore.
I get it. And then you left your headphones in Berm's pack because you guys were over there at the Woody the other day. We got more camps going on this week. We've got some OVs coming in this weekend. I mean, what's the current status over there at the Woody Hayes with everything that's going on?
Yeah, Bob, Tuesday was the last one-day camp for high schoolers or for recruits trying to earn an offer, any of that stuff. So sad. It came and went. It's one of my favorite times of the year, and this 3-week stretch is really over before it felt like it even began. So there's one more 7-on-7 day at Ohio State over at the Woody. The 7-on-7s I don't generally go to, and I don't think that Berm is going to knock that out either. He's got his attention on – we've got a meeting down at the station. We're going to go pop back in there and see everybody at 11 this morning. And then Berm's got his eyes on trying to cover the commitment date for Sincere Johnson up there in Glenville, the linebacker who is a top priority for Ohio State. His announcement day is tomorrow. And then you have a loaded official visit weekend. And on the other side of that, Bob, you have vacation for the coaching staff. So I think there was a buzz in the air on Tuesday. Talk to some folks over there. Love to find out what they're doing, how they're going to spend this week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks off that some of them get. I don't think that the position coaches are going to be taking that full allotment necessarily, but it's build this in. Some guys are leaving, I think, on Sunday night. As soon as the official visitors leave town, it's time to hit the road. Some
off like a prom dress.
Yeah, it's that time, and they've earned it. This month is incredibly busy for them because even the things you mentioned with official visitors, camp season. That's not the only thing they're doing. The current team still has to have work too. They've got morning meetings. They've got morning workouts. They spend really the month of June basically in that facility all day long, working with both, the present and the future of the program. So this is the only time that they really even cut it off for a little bit. And they've sort of told these recruits as well. There had always been a rush, or not always. Recently, there'd been a rush for guys to commit in late June to get this thing done when some of the visit windows are closing up. It's like, get this thing done. I've been everywhere I want to go. I want to make the decision. Now it feels like Ohio State is telling the people it's targeting, hey, maybe tap the brakes a little bit and get into July 1 with the start of the House settlement. Get some confirmation that USC's checks aren't going to bounce for you, and then come back and talk to us later on in the year.
Austin Ward joins us here. He is on the beat with Austin and Berm, a podcast that you can get on 10TV Plus app, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Austin, schematically, how do you think the defense will look different this year from the last couple years?
Feels like a better question for Matt Patricia on the Bobby Carpenter show. I mean, I think that there's going to be more versatility in the scheme, more flexibility, more different looks, and some of that. It sounds kind of crazy to say it this way. Might be because of necessity with the defensive line. Like, Ohio State has enough talent to do whatever it wants, and even as much as we look and scrutinize how many bodies, how many guys could rotate in a defensive tackle if they have enough depth for 16 or 17 games, Jason Moore and Will Smith and Tywan Malone and Jarquez Carter can still play. They wouldn't be at Ohio State if they couldn't. So we'll see how much of this time we've spent talking about that is overblown. But one way or another, you're not going to ask those top guys to play 650 snaps, talking about Eder Houston and Caden McDonald. And I feel like given some of the skill sets of Arvell Reese, C.J. Hicks, the ability to use them as linebackers, to bring them up to the line of scrimmage, to have them do traditional defensive end stuff, to have them be blitzers, I think that's sort of what Matt Patricia sees, and my conversations with him have been, well, you find out what your best players do best, and then you build a scheme around them. And it feels to me like, and I really wasn't sure about this. Bill Belichick, and Bob, you can talk about this much more eloquently than I can. He's passed down a scheme that is not married to just doing one specific thing and getting really good at it. And the innovation, I think, was really derived from drafting and a philosophy that New England had, where they were late in the rounds almost every single year. They weren't able to just go pick their own groceries and then make the meal from there. So Matt Patricia comes from a school of thought where it feels like you have to adapt every year. You may have some core philosophies that you want to stick with, but having people like Arvell Reese and C.J. Hicks and Jermaine Matthews in the secondary opens up different channels and avenues for you to expand what you do. And I think this is why it feels like it's been so exciting for Matt Patricia is that you also get to now go out and you don't have to draft and you can recruit and find whatever you want. So I wonder if maybe in 2 or 3 years that will mean that he finds a system that he wants to use more frequently, but it'd also be really hard to break a habit that's worked for a really long time.
Oh, yeah. And I think that they find what they have. And like you said, Austin, they make the best meal they can ultimately with it. You were talking about waiting until after July 1 when the house settlement stuff is all resolved.
Yeah.
How do you envision that work? I know that there's been promises that were made and like they've got guys under these NIL deals, and then this is kind of changing everything moving forward. And were they budgeting for this with the NIL being $20 million on the revenue share and then working on stuff outside of that? I mean, I understand this was probably planned, but like you see some of these teams and saw where Texas Tech, it's reported like $55 million, and who knows how to corroborate any of that. But it just seems like this first year there's going to be a lot of work trying to get figured out of how to kind of make this work when you're just kind of all of a sudden jumping into regulations and constraints that I don't know if anybody ever saw getting there.
Well, it's pretty wild, Bob, that nobody is spending their entire summer talking about what one program spent on their roster. What happened to that? I thought that was the most popular storyline of last year, that Ohio State.
It's only if it's the most popular team.
Yeah, that's a great point. Everyone tried to front load some of the NIL contracts, the financial opportunities for their players in the first half of this year before it was going to count against the cap. I do think I mentioned USC. I don't have any hard proof of what they've done. It sure seems like they and Texas Tech and the Texas Longhorns have looked at this year and tried to put as much money as possible into the first 6 months of it before they would have to start reporting that through NIL Go, through the house settlement channels, any of those things. So, what's going to happen after that? I think we have another period of volatile transition. And this happened when NIL started. And I think, a bunch of people decided to be super aggressive at the start of that. They weren't going to be worried about the rules. There were no punishments outlined. The NCAA was never going to do anything. And that's how they set it up. And they had a short-term bump, and then it wasn't sustainable over the long term. And a lot of players wound up moving on in the transfer portal for some of these programs, thinking about Texas A&M most specifically. The money didn't come in the way it was promised. There weren't contracts in place necessarily to guarantee that for both parties, and it fell apart quickly. And I don't believe Ohio State has done some of that with the first 6 months, but they're not making promises that they can't deliver on. That has been consistent for them since the NIL era started. That's the right way to do it. It is a prudent way to do it. It's a patient way to do it. Sometimes it leaves you in a spot where you may lose a recruitment or a player that you thought that you were going to have. That's okay. I felt that way 5 years ago, and I feel that way now. There's a national championship banner hanging in the Woody because of that approach. Doing it, I'm not the quote unquote right way. I'm not saying it's wrong for other programs to drop huge bags, but if you don't have the money to back that up, then I would say that was probably an unfair thing to do. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, Bob, but I just feel like it's going to look very similar to 2020, 2021. There are going to be there have been big spenders for the previous 6 months. Is that going to pay off in the long term? My guess would be probably not. But there is probably going to be some frustration, and I know that there is frustration for programs like Ohio State when few of these battles have taken a very strange turn heading into July 1st for them that they didn't anticipate. And maybe they will just have to revisit that closer to December.
Austin Ward joining us here, channeling his inner Adam Sandler there, Bobby, with his red hooded sweatshirt. Yep. Austin, oh, look at that. We'll get you out on this one. Player-wise, who is the most irreplaceable player on this team?
Wow. I think it would have to be Caleb Downs on this team. I'd love to look at some of these other positions and where maybe the depth is not where Ohio State ideally wants it to be. And look, I think Ohio State could build a secondary around Malik Hartford and Jalen McClain and playing Jermaine Matthews and Lorenzo Styles at nickel and still be very good. But Caleb Downs is the best defensive player in America. And given his football IQ, his proven production, I think being able to then go implement whatever new changes there are with Matt Patricia, I think Caleb Downs is ideally suited to do that. And Sonny Styles is critical in that as well. But I think that there are more bodies at linebacker. I think Bob can attest to this. That's why I'm talking about them lending out some of these guys to help with the defensive line. They have a surplus, and that can help multiple positions. That's not necessarily the case at safety. Fahim Delane certainly had a very good first spring in camp. But Malik Hartford and Jalen McClain would be doing this really for the first time on a full-time basis. And as I said, Caleb Downs, he's the best defensive player in America, and if you want to have an argument about the best player in America, well, that also just involves guys that are in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. So flip a coin on that one. I don't think either one of them care about that moniker if they can go help the Buckeyes compete for championships again together. But even from that perspective, Jeremiah Smith may have that title as the best player in America, but the fact that Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis and Bryson Rogers and Mylan Graham and Max Clare are all on this roster, the passing attack would probably be okay in a world where Jeremiah Smith wasn't on the roster. And I know that sounds like a ludicrous way to attack this, but it is why I believe Caleb Downs is so critical, and in my opinion, the most critical for Ohio State this year. We were able to work in a ludicrous reference and also a irreplaceable Beyonce song reference. It's been a great segment. Austin, appreciate the time, bud. We'll talk again next week. Yeah, talk and maybe even have video. We'll see. I'll try to bring Austin. We want to make Austin come in here live for this segment. One segment on a Wednesday morning. We want to bring him in here live, and so we have we'll still have issues. Nonetheless, coming up next, we'll tell you what's got us juiced. Morning Juice.
Hey, veterans of Delaware County. Looking for a fun and meaningful day out? Join Delaware County Veteran Services for a free bus trip on June 25th to the Mott's Military Museum in Groveport. Departing from the Delaware County Fairgrounds at 9 a.m., you'll enjoy a guided tour and lunch at the museum, all on us. This is a veterans-only event, and you must be a Delaware County resident to attend. Call 740-833-2010 today to reserve your seat. Or to learn more, visit Delaware County Veteran Service online. Space is limited. Don't miss this patriotic day of history and honor.
Okay, let's go. Top row.
E-Y-E-C-A-R-E.
Good. Next row.
A-M America? iCareAmerica.org?
Yes. I Care America helps seniors who haven't had a medical eye exam in 3 or more years. They also help those with an increased risk for glaucoma, and the appointment is often free or at no out-of-pocket cost. It's easy to see if you qualify. Go to EYECareAmerica.org.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime. And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you as a police officer that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere. This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Attack and dominate, YouTubers. You're locked into Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Thank you to Austin Ward for joining us. Always love talking to him. Final segment of the program. It's a Wednesday. Coaster Bob well behind us now, Bobby, right?
Yeah. Coaster Bob was at 7.
Yes. That doesn't mean we can't be excited, though, still.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
First segment of the show, I learned that today was Wednesday. And so, Bobby, I believe that means you will go first, if I'm not mistaken.
It does. So, yeah, let's do it. Last night, got a chance to go over to the governor's mansion. Had an event with Coach Tress. And
first time ever in the governor's mansion?
It was. It was
Nice.
first time in there. And,
Is it quite the estate?
Oh, yeah, it's right over there, like on Bexley. Unfortunately, Cassidy was shut down. They sent an email after I hadn't checked my emails. I was running around that it was. So I had to drive around and everything. Hop on James Road over there. That's always a fun time. And went there. It was really nice. Got to see a bunch of my former teammates. And, you know, Tress is always great. I was talking to DeWine afterwards. And he's like, the guy's amazing. Him talking about Tress, like his ability to connect people and bring people together. And it's very interesting because it's one of the more diverse groups that you're going to probably have in the governor's mansion at any point in time. Not even just based on appearance, but from where guys are from, all over the state of Ohio. I think DeWine said from Ripley to Reynoldsburg, and it was just there's guys from everywhere there, and even people from out of state that had moved in, came back, and so you've got a lot of different thoughts and talking about how we could improve the state, what we could do, some things around education, some things around fitness. I think there's going to be some pretty cool stuff that's going to come from this and some different objectives and that we're going to see moving forward. So it was pretty exciting. And my man Schleg's at the end, it was great. They go, last question, Schleg's. And Schleg, the attire was business casual. Most guys had on a coat. Some guys had on like slacks and a polo, maybe a button down. Schleg's had on shorts.
Did he really?
And he told me, he goes, what's the attire for this? I go, business casual.
He asked yesterday on the air.
He goes, resend me the invite, which I did. And he goes, all I got shorts. And I'm like, dude, we're going to the governor. I don't know, because that's business casual, right? I'm like, maybe golf casual. I don't know if it's ever an appropriate time to wear shorts to like an event at the governor's mansion.
That's Schleg's, though.
And so someone there is like, in the last, he goes, Tress goes, last question coming from Schleg's. And someone's like, Schleg's is here? And I'm like, he's hiding in the back because he has shorts on. and then he throws, it's not even a comment, a question. It's really a comment statement. And it was awesome by Schleg's. This is who he is. He's like, you've done all this for us. You want to help us. He's like, what can we do to help you with these objectives and initiatives? How can we get involved? And Tress is like, talk to your state senator, your GA congressman, representative, and everything, and just talk to people about what you think is important and try to enact change in that way. He's like, we can only handle the bills that come through the General Assembly, so let's make sure that we're pushing this in the right direction. He's like, you are very influential people in here, in different ways and in different parts of the state, so make sure that you're trying to get that done. But it was awesome, just being in there with some of my teammates and then guys who played after me. It was really cool. I recorded it. Tress gets mad. I try not to record too much anymore just because it's like be in the moment. But it was great. We did 2 Carmen Ohios at the end. One with C. Grant and then one with our own Evan Blankenship. And it was cool because Evan Tress is like, we'll have one with a little soul and one with a little country. And it kind of, embodies everything.
Emotional?
that was there. I mean, guys were having a good time with it. It was definitely you could feel the passion and energy in the room.
Did Evan play the guitar?
He did not play the guitar. But what was great about Evan is C went first, and then Evan goes, I've heard you. I've grew up watching you sing this like 1,000 times. He's like, that's how I've modeled all this after you. So it was cool to see the connectivity of not playing with Evan and playing with C, but then being around Evan here. And I said, like, my class was kind of the connective tissue a little bit. We were Tress's second class, but we played with everybody almost up to his second year, and then played with all the seniors and everything in that 02 team. And so the classes like right around us were there. Ted was there, just a lot. Maurice, so just a lot of former guys that were there, and it was a lot of fun. I think we got some stuff accomplished, and hopefully there'll be some great initiatives moving forward with that of just how to develop the state of Ohio and to develop the schools that provide the right type of students for the jobs that we have now in America, and most importantly in the state of Ohio, and some of the things that can be enacted to try to make this state the best state in the country. And so we're very excited about that. One of my teammates who lives close to me, Brandon Joe, throughout the line, it was his third question, and we're like, no, we're done. And no, he's like, this is one everyone's gonna want to hear. And he drops whatever the darn date is, and he's like, in however many days are you going to be running for governor? And it's just all that great, very diplomatic answer, and then skirted away. Evan C., why don't we come up here and why don't we finish this the right way? But it was awesome to be a part of that, and it went for 2 hours. And I told Tress, the bad part is we could have went for 2 more. He's like, exactly. He goes, but this is the type of thing that we wanted to be involved with and try to get done. And he's one of the few people that could ultimately pull it together. So that was unbelievable. And then I stumbled upon this last night, sent over to Shark this morning. Thanks for getting it cut. On the importance of really this. We had a lot of guys who were all in their 30s, 40s, and even some probably touching almost 50 there last night. And he's like, you have an opportunity to enact change, and it's really because of time. It is the most precious and valuable commodity any of us have. And you don't even realize that till you probably cross over from 40, and maybe at that point, probably a little more at 50. But as you're Shark and you're sitting here and you're staring at your less than 2 weeks, you realize, how do I want to spend the rest of my days? Because I can always make more money, but I can never make more time. And you have no idea how much time you have left. And this is Sahil Bloom talking about that.
Would you trade lives with Warren Buffett? He's worth $130 billion. He has access to anyone in the world. He flies around on private jets. He's got plenty of amazing houses. He spends all day learning and reading. But I'm willing to bet you would not trade lives with him because he's 95 years old. There's no way you would trade the amount of time you have left for the amount of time he does for any amount of money. And on the flip side, he would probably trade lives with you. He would give up all of the money that he has in the world to be your age again. And so we know that time is our most valuable asset, that it is literally incalculable value. But then on a daily basis, we sit around and spend 2 hours watching Netflix, bidding on the value of that time. And so the first thing with time wealth is just creating that awareness, slapping yourself a little bit, pulling yourself back into the present to say, like, I am a time billionaire. I literally have billions of seconds left in my life. If I'm 50 years old, I have about 1 billion seconds left. If I'm 20 years old, I have 2 billion seconds left. That is my most precious asset.
Wow. I probably only have like 1/3 of 1 billion seconds left.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with that?
Probably, but maybe.
Maybe not.
Who knows?
I might have 1 billion. I might have less than 100.
And you may spend less than those in some of those billion seconds just wandering around eating pudding. So you have no idea.
Probably. But he kind of put Netflix on blast there.
Well, it's just a wasting of time. I tell my wife, like, if we're going to watch something, let's watch something that we really enjoy. Like, try not to just mindlessly or aimlessly watch things to burn time. It drives me nuts. What's Schle's got to say?
My dad had some great nuggets he threw out there. We had like 3 rules in our house. Respect your elders. Don't hang in cliques. And don't take wooden nickels. You're blue-collar, corn-fed, not their blank in the dirt.
Bob, the first
That's
one
so
was the
good.
most important. Respect
Yes.
your elders. Make sure you respect your elders. Quickly, the Guardians, I've always been a glass half empty guy. I always expect the worst. And there are times when I don't think the Guardians are going to win another game in the rest of the season. And last night was one of those nights. They had lost 3 in a row in Seattle. They're going to San Francisco. They're facing Robbie Ray, who is 8-1. And the Tribe had Slade Ciccone on the mound. He's 1-3. And I was like, they're not going to win this game. And then we got to the 9th inning. Tribe's up 3-2. Clase loads the bases with 1 out. And I'm just thinking it's approaching 12:30. Am I going to get any sleep tonight? Or is this thing going to go extra innings? Worse yet, are they going to lose in the bottom of the 9th because Clase blows another save, which is what he did Saturday in Seattle. But he got the next guy to pop out to left field, and then the final batter of the game. Tom Hamilton's on vacation, so this is Jim Rosenhaus.
Clase sets up high. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And the Guardians win it tonight in San Francisco. They hang on for a 3-2 victory as Clase comes up big with the bases loaded.
Take that, Tito. Take that with your Reds hat and shove it up your duker.
My 38 and 35 Reds?
Yep.
Your
37 and 36?
Yeah.
One over.
Guardians.
Tougher division.
It's up for debate.
What has you juiced?
What's got me juiced? First up, Bobby, I want to ask you this. The governor's thing you went to, the governor's mansion, the event you went to last night, even though he was not invited, did Tim May get a question in?
Yeah.
He actually was waiting outside. He was yelling from the door.
Tim, I got one quick for you. Let me
He was on Zoom.
I feel like Tim would have showed up, even not invited. Even though he's retired, right? He still shows up at all press conferences. He shows up here. He'll show up out there as well. What's got me juiced? I was thinking about this on the way in this morning. And, we get up pretty early, compared to most people to do this show. And I was trying to think of what's the best type of morning to drive into work on. And I think it's not.
It's really foggy.
It's not winter.
It was exciting.
It's not fall. I think it's summer. I think I'm okay with I don't care if it's that hot out there, but just the window's down because it's not 85 degrees yet or something like that. I think summer is the best morning to drive in. Would you agree with that, Shark?
You know what? I've never, ever thought about that, Tito. And it amazes me that you thought about that at what time? 5:15 this morning?
Yeah, something like that.
That's what goes through your mind.
I don't. You don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
But if you want to, I've got several therapists that have done a book on me.
I'm guessing that you had the window down because you were smoking a cigar.
I have never smoked a cigar or cigarette in my life.
You're a good man.
I've had no desire to.
What about a doobie?
I think I took a couple of hits at some point when I was younger. It's been quite a while, though.
Secondhand smoke, maybe.
But look,
out in the dog pound in Cleveland.
Are you guys cigar guys? I know you are, Bob. You're not?
No, not even close.
Like, I got friends who are cigar guys. My one guy lights it up every time I play golf, and it ends up blowing in my face. And I don't. Not a fan of that.
Not a fan.
Getting stuff blown on your face.
That's how we should end the show. Thanks so much to all the chatters on the YouTube side there. We appreciate that. Thank you to Austin Ward. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. This has been Morning Juice.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together. All of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund. Because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we.
Brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color.
with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
Raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together.
established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's